Big tech firms will continue to roll out new wearable gadgets, but are consumers really ready, and are they interested in how will businesses avoid getting left behind the next tech wave? We're going to find out right now. Chris Jones, co-founder, vice president, and principal analyst at Canalys Insight, joins us now live from Silicon Valley. Welcome to the show. And I'm assuming you heard what Karina had to say earlier, and I have to begin to wonder, I mean, at some point, how much do I really want to know about what I'm doing? Let's just take the heart rate thing, for example. It's great for professional athletes, but what about normal people like you and I?
Yeah, for most people, we don't need that information, or we don't think we need that information yet. But I think as people become more familiar with these devices and what they can do, I think there will be a rise in the interest of what these devices and what this technology can bring. And the heart rate is one thing, but also the steps that one takes during the day and one's general activity, I think will become more and more important as people become more familiar with what this technology can do.
I mean, I could see one example this could be extremely valuable, and that's with the elderly, right? Because they're very concerned about their health in their older age. And if they had bracelets or something that was monitoring their health condition and something went wrong, it would send alert to their sons and daughters or other loved ones, so they knew that there was something was wrong. I mean, wouldn't this be a sort of a natural place that this could work?
I think it really would. And I think it's not just about the wearer of the technology to track their own health and fitness, but also other people to keep an eye on people that they care for. You might be a diabetic, and your loved ones will keep an eye on your state at any time of the day from afar. So I think there's absolutely use cases for this technology to be used to keep an eye on people, to observe your loved ones, to make sure they're safe and healthy.
So we talked about the new Intel watch. We talked about the Samsung watch before, and of course Apple has their watch as well. So we got three big tech watches, which is a super Casio watch, basically, that does a lot more. One of the things that we brought up was the fact that aren't watches extremely personal to people? I mean, you and I don't really want to have the exact same watch, I imagine, if we were together going at a bar or something like that. It's a very personal decision. What's to stop people from saying, look, I don't want to have the exact same watch as everybody else in that room?
It's a good point. And I think we've seen up to now in the last few months, some of the smartwatches, they only come in one design, one size, maybe one color, one shape. At least with Apple, the Apple Watch, there were over 30 different combinations that one can choose, because you've got different sizes, you've got different editions, different strap options. So at least Apple have gone some way to give the consumers choice. And I think they've designed probably for men and women. Many of the devices we've seen up to now are quite big and bulky and chunky and really look huge on a woman's wrist, let alone many men's wrists as well. So I think fashion is incredibly important here in how these products are designed, because this is something we're wearing on the outside of our bodies. It might be eyewear or clothing or jewelry or watches or activity monitors on either or one wrist. And they've got to fit into our lives. And it's not just about the data that they collect or the notifications from our smartphone onto these devices.
Look,
but
I mean,
the data.
You bring up a great point. I mean, just go backwards about a year and a half when Google announced the Google Glass thing, right? I mean, you're down there in Silicon Valley. I have a lot of friends down there. No one has one of them. And what happened to that? That was supposed to be the next big thing, right?
It's really early in that product and that type of product. I think there's a long way to go. I think they're not socially acceptable today. You're right with that. You see most people, or you see them most often at a wearable technology conference in San Francisco. That's where people bring them out. But generally, you don't see them being worn very much anymore, even here in Silicon Valley. They're just not socially acceptable. But I think that there's much more to come as new fashion designers come in to design Google Glass into sunglasses and other spectacles.
I mean, here's my concern. Look, I like technology a lot, and we all, I think, generally like fashion, and there's this issue of sort of the fad versus the fashion versus sort of the functionality. And I'm just wondering, what's the balance there, and where do you see sort of this industry right now?
The market's pretty small right now. Canalys estimates that about 18 million bands and smartwatches, so activity monitors on your wrist, and smartwatches will be sold this year, 18 million globally in 2014. Now, with Apple entering the market in 2015, we think that will rise quite quickly, And we'll see other types of wearable technology there as well. But again, it's got to add something to our lives. These have got to be beautiful, but they've also got to be useful. So what if I take 10,000 steps and slept 7 hours last night? What can I do with that
Chris,
data? I want insight.
Chris, very quickly, so I can look good in front of my team at tomorrow's meeting, what's the next cool thing that's going to be coming out that we haven't talked about?
I think, a lot of it will be the data and the software that's in these devices. I think, Apple Watch is certainly going to get a lot of attention when it comes to market, early next year. But I think what's inside and the software we see in our smartphones that links then to these wearable devices, I think will be really, really key going forward.
All right, Chris Jones from Silicon Valley, center of the U.S. tech world. Thank you very much. Have a great day.